So the meeting is officially on for all you folks on the Zoom calls tonight. What do we have at folks at home tonight? 87 folks at home tonight. So you guys at home, you missed a great meal with Casa Vega. Today is Wednesday, May 20th. It's 7 o'clock, and we are going to rock and roll tonight. Jason, Jason, come on up. So we had Casa Vega for you guys at home. We had Casa Vega here tonight. Every year, Christy Vega does our May meeting for Cinco de Mayo in celebration. She is, I don't know how many times she has catered our years, and we appreciate it. Come over here so you can actually be on the camera, Jason. Grab a mic. If you guys have not been to Casa Vega recently, please go. Three reasons. Number one is fantastic food, and it is a Sherman Oaks treasure. Number two is recently, a couple weeks ago, you guys in the back, can you keep it down? You guys? If you can keep it down, that way these folks over here can hear. So a couple weeks ago, Fulton and Ventura Boulevard was dedicated as Ray Vega, her father, Ray Vega Square. And it was fantastic. And so if you look at all four of the signs, it says Ray Vega Square. And then about 30 days, 45 days.
For the patio?
Yeah.
2 months ago, we
about
opened it.
2 months ago, Christy spent a ton of time and built just a magnificent, magnificent patio in the back. So if you guys want drinks, if you want cocktails, if you want just a fun night, she did an absolutely first-class job. This is Jason, her general manager, and he's going to probably say nothing because I said everything about it, right?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. I just want to say how honored we are to have done this for a number of years now. I know Christy has always talked about how important the community is and how, we're also celebrating our 70th year as a restaurant. So it's a huge milestone. And thank you. So it's really all the Vega family. And Christy's now taken the tradition of 70 years and has added on to that with this new patio. It's 70-year reservation of the restaurant and about 7 weeks now of this new patio, which some of you I know have has visited. I've seen some faces that I recognize. But she's very embedded in the community. The community means so much to her, and she's so honored that the Sherman Oaks Homeowner Association has asked us to do this every year, and that you guys were part of the opening. You've been there for the first several events we held, and it means a tremendous amount to her. The city means a tremendous amount to her throughout the years, even though this has been a hard kind of time right now for restaurants, and communities really always been there to support Casa Vega. Sherman Oaks has always rallied around during tough times, and just brought us out of some dark times and really shined us up on a hill. And now we're honored by the city. It was great. It's a great moment for them and the Vega family, and we're just very appreciative of everyone always coming and supporting us and saying such nice things about the restaurant. It means a tremendous deal to Christy and her family. She's away right now, out of town. That's why she's not here. So I'm here. But we always say Casa Vega, tries to bring the heat, and I think we proved that by setting the fire alarm off within the first 5 minutes of being here. So thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Everybody enjoy the food. Let's hear it for Casa Vega. I have a funny story about Casa Vega. So ever since I was a little kid, our family home, we grew up on Nagel, just up the street from Casa Vega. And so when I was like 11 or 12 or maybe 13 years old, Ray Vega, we used to go there when we were kids with the family. And so Ray opened up right across the street, which was the Berkshire Hathaway office, which was my old office. But he opened up over there. It was a restaurant closed down, and he opened up a either Chinese or Japanese. It was called the Tawada Inn. He opened up an all-you-could-eat buffet, and I was a busboy there. I would walk down the street, and I have to be home by 7 o'clock, so I took the early shift. But Ray was a great guy. I loved Ray. He was a really terrific guy. The whole family's amazing. So thanks again, Jason. And when you're in there, say hello to Jason, and you might get a table. Okay, I want to, we have a very limited board tonight. We had different things going on in the city, so the different board members did scatter around. But if the board members could come on up here. Also, Jane is standing up right now. I don't know why. Oh, okay. John's in the back. John, come on up here. Jane is my wife. Jane is not a board member, but Jane is in charge of the restaurant committee. And so we're very thankful for her. Let's hear it for Jane. Do you know who the restaurant is next month, Jane? Ooh, Burger She Wrote, everybody. So you guys at home, get off your Duffies and ooh, smash burgers and fries from Burger She Wrote. All right. So we're gonna have a board introduction. Go ahead.
I'm Maria Pavlou-Calban, and I am co-vice president of the association and chair of the legislative committee. And my only update is SB 79, the implementation draft, is working its way through the city. And one of our concerns was addressed by the planning department and added to the draft and has been approved by the Planning Commission. So we're very pleased about that. And we have a couple of other issues that we're working on right now with the Plum Committee, which is going to take a look at this next. So we're working on everything. Thank you.
How you doing? I'm Howard Jaffe. I head the homeless committee, doing the usual, chasing down homeless sites, contacting CD4. And I just want everyone to know, if you've got an issue and you're not getting anywhere, if you reach out to me, I will do my best to assist. I currently have a good situation with CD4 and with the person that handles the homeless committee.
Thank you, Howard. So you have another 30 days to actually get a response from the council office through Howard, if at least 30 days. I'm kidding.
Hi, everyone. Joan Pellico, Government Relations. Just a reminder, we have a primary June 2nd. So please don't wait the last minute, especially if you're going to use the post office to mail in your ballot, because the day you mail it, they might not necessarily stamp it that day. So you don't want to be late. So I would suggest, if you haven't sent in your ballots yet, you should definitely do it by next week. Okay. And on our website, we gave an opportunity to several of the candidates, in fact, all of them running for mayor, to have a Zoom meeting. They chose the time, and a few of us have been on many of them. So if you've never gone to the Zoom, they now have the recorded link there, so you can check it out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joan. Hi, I'm Tammy Scher. I'm business liaison here, so I would like to tell you that it's been really tough for businesses around Los Angeles, especially with the gross receipts tax that we know just continues right now, that just passed yesterday again. And then we have the ULA, and we have the billionaires tax coming up, the wealth tax. So it's really difficult for businesses. So please go out there and support your local businesses. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Eisen. I'm the treasurer of the association.
Hi, everyone. Tom Glick, board member, land use. I help Maria with government affairs, kind of the Johnny on the spot on the board. So Johnny, not on the spot. Okay. Thank you for coming. It's great to see everyone.
Thank you. Okay, we have a couple of candidates. If you guys want to work up here, we've got Tish, who's running for mayor, and we've got Josh, who's running for Congress. Josh still in the room? Okay. So if you guys, Mike, are you good with coming up after them? Okay. So come on up. Welcome. You've got 2 minutes. Nice to meet you.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Tish Hyman, and I'm running for mayor of Los Angeles. I'm not gonna lie, I had a speech prepared and all of this, but I felt the vibe in the crowd that said you just want to hear what I have to say, and I just want to be real with you. Los Angeles is dealing with a multitude of problems, and I'm here to tell you that I, as mayor, will support this organization. I will support this community, because communities like you show up, you care about the infrastructure, you care about building, and I do too, but we can't build blindly. So with regard to SB 79, I think that we need to make sure that we're building near train stations. I think we need to make sure that we're building near commercial corridors and thinking about the neighborhood, traffic, parking, things of this nature. We can't just build in a single family neighborhood. And as mayor, I would come to your meetings once a month because it's my job to listen to you. I don't live in Sherman Oaks, but I know that you do and you care about what's happening in your community. And I want to be here to support your concerns and hear your concerns because that's how you handle the problems of the people. You listen to them and you find out what they're dealing with. What made me run for mayor was because I saw leadership was failing. And I didn't see anyone there who was jumping in, who cared about all of our problems in all districts of Los Angeles. There are many different neighborhoods, and every neighborhood has a different need. We all want to attack the homeless problem and the homeless population, but we have to do it with accountability. And I have experience as I grew up in New York City with dealing with homelessness and addiction, and it has to be done with accountability and strongly. So I support mandatory rehabilitation long term. And I would work with the governor to make sure that our vagrancy laws are enforced, to make sure that we tighten up some of the laws and the bills that we can so we can make sure we get people off the streets. But all people do not have the same problems. So we have to make sure that we route them to the solutions that work best for them. But we need them off the streets because if we have public safety, then our businesses can thrive. I'm an economy girl. I'm a business person. So what I did was I figured out ways to bring money to Los Angeles. I have two business structures. I'll be quick. One is extended nightclub hours in the event spaces and locations, Hollywood, Santa Monica Pier, because if we extend the nightclub hours, we can extend our tourism. After we clean the city, we can have our businesses, we'll have reasons to have 24-hour restaurants again, and our city will thrive. And this will pay for itself, for sanitation and fees through zoning fees that we will use. Another thing I figured out was a way, I went over, wrap it up. I got an infrastructure plan that will bring $30,000 every hour to Hollywood because we are globally famous and we are an amazing city. You can go to my website, hyman4mayor.com, and hear more about what I have to say. I also have an AI twin. Ask her anything. She can answer every question about my policies. Thank you so much. And I'm here, so I'd love to talk to you.
Smart candidate here. She stands in front of me so she can't see me with the hook.
I didn't know. It's my first time.
No, I love it.
But I got you next time.
Josh, you got two minutes.
I know there'll be a
Yeah, and actually come over here so that
tighter leash
the
on
folks
me.
at home can see you.
I'll be closer to you.
Hold on, Tish. Come over here and just say hello to the folks at home because you were standing a little off camera. Okay. Thank you. Okay, enough. Get out of here.
Okay. All right. Hello.
Not so close, though.
All right, here we go. Hello, everybody here this evening. Hello, folks at home. My name is Josh Sauter, and I am running for Congress in the 32nd District because it's time for a change, and it's time for somebody to fight for us. When you think about Josh Sauter, you have to think about a fighter and who's fighting for us, okay? Josh Sauter was the president of the Encino Neighborhood Council during the fires in the Palisades, which is when I saw firsthand that our elected leadership abandons us during times of crises. They're just not there. They're either in Ghana or they're in Washington, D.C. I am different in one fundamental, Josh Sauter is different from the other candidates in this race in one fundamental way. And it's that I own a house in Encino, California. My two opponents here, you can't see, but they both own homes in Washington, D.C. If you like the way that the city is being run right now, if you like homeless people in the parks, if you like crumbling infrastructure, if you like town hall meetings over Zoom, then vote for Brad Sherman because he will continue to do those things. If you are looking for someone who will fight for you every day because they drive these streets, they have two little boys who go to Valley Beth Shalom Synagogue, then you should vote for me because Josh Sauter is a fighter and there is nobody who will fight harder for us than Josh Sauter. I am grateful to be here today because I love all of you homeowners. There is an assault on homeowners in California, and I know that, and you guys know that. You have the best representatives that there are to talk about this. The Calbans, right? There is an assault on home ownership here. And the only people who will fight for it are homeowners. We all know as homeowners, what do we fight for the most? We fight for our families and our homes. Well, if my two opponents own homes in Washington, D.C., where will they be fighting? They're not going to be fighting for us here. I'm running because nobody is fighting for us. And I need you to not just vote for me. I'm asking you to vote for me, please. But fight for me like I'd fight for you. Tell people. That includes all of you. That includes you, Matthew.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Real pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Anthony. And did we have other field deputies here? There you go. Didn't see you hiding. How are you? All right, we have two field deputies, and then we're going to get to our police report.
Hello, everyone. Anthony Thornton from Assemblyman Nick Schultz's office. Just a few quick updates. The first one about the state of the budget for California. The governor has stated multiple times that we have a balanced structural deficit with reserves to offset the structural deficit for future years to come. He is really adamant about handing off a balanced budget for the governor. Two things from our office. We have a community coffee coming up on May 30th, and we also have a virtual town hall on June 4th with the Assembly Budget Chair, Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel. And one last thing I would like to highlight is regarding one of his bills that just made it out of the Assembly suspense file is AB 2319. This is huge because this would allow a $100 million tax credit to post-production work in California to put us on par with some of these other states that we see we're losing film to, like Georgia, and other countries even. So this made it off the suspense file onto the Assembly floor on its way for a vote. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Anthony.
Hi, everyone. Just a couple updates. Wanted to just share that, as you all know, there was the...
Do you want to share your name?
Sure. That's first. Hi, I'm Paige from Supervisor Horvath's office, LA County, 3rd District. As you all know, back in April, there was the plane crash over in Pacoima near Whiteman Airport. Just today, actually, our Public Works Department released a written report outlining the immediate actions to further strengthen safety at the airport. And some of the items were quarterly pilot safety seminars focused on operational safety and local airspace conditions. They plan to do runway and taxiway pavement restorations and upgraded markings, and then also just further expand community outreach and airport safety communications. Another really big one for the county. Yesterday at our Board of Supervisors meeting, Supervisor Horvath's amended motion to establish the first independent ethics commission and Office of Ethics Compliance in the history of LA County was approved by the Board of Supervisors. This milestone advances the mandate approved by voters through Measure G, which was in 2024. Just a couple of highlights from the motion. This will direct all of our county departments to identify existing ethics-related funding and positions to support implementation. Allocate funding in the fiscal year 26-27, the budget, to establish the Ethics Commission and Office of Ethics Compliance. Calls for drafting an interim ordinance to establish the Ethics Commission and Office of Ethics Compliance immediately, and prepares a charter amendment for the November 2026 ballot to formalize the Commission's long-term independence and structure. That's all for me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Paige. Paige is our new rep for those of you who don't know. You've been there 2 months now in this position. Great. Thank you, Paige. Mike, is Howard here? I didn't see him. Okay, good. I mean, not good. Miss you, Howard. Not this Howard, the other Howard.
Good evening, everybody. Mike Perez, Senior Lead for the Sherman Oaks area. Been working the area a little bit more dedicatedly last few weeks. We stepped up patrols along the Valley Vista into the hills, and we're also addressing more of the homeless. I don't know if you've seen the bike officers out there. They're going to be out there again this week, patrolling and doing those type of enforcement specifically on the homeless, because there's a few people that we need to address that we've seen. One of the issues that people are calling about is that they're not able to receive crime stats. So they are online. I brought the latest crime stats for the entire Van Nuys area. Unfortunately, we can't give and tailor it to Sherman Oaks, but you can see generally where we're at as far as crime and the crime reporting to the FBI. So I have brought that today. If you go online, it's also available online. If you go online, you go down to Van Nuys Division, go all the way down, and you'll see a CompStat, COMPSTAT, computer stats. It's updated every week, okay, for the crime stats. So that's where it doesn't say crime stats, it says CompStat, okay? The one more thing I want to address, party houses, okay? I've received many, many complaints about party houses. I have 3 that I'm working on right now. The party house, if you have an individual that has a party maybe once or twice a year, that's not a party house. The party houses are more like commercial where they rent out their property, and they're every day, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, there's a party going on or some kind of noise or issue, parking issue where they bring parking issues. First step, contact me, okay? Let me know where it's at, where it's coming from. Think of it as a case, a crime case. I need evidence. So if you can get video, if you can get photographs. So when you contact me, I would like the location, how many people are there, what time did it go to, did you call the police? Number 2, I need you to call the police to generate a call for service. People are angry about the lack of time spent on the phone with the non-emergency. We understand that, but we have to get that call generated, because when I contact the city attorney to file or to cite the owners of the home, the first thing they ask, how many calls for service are there? And if I run the calls for service and it comes back 1 or 2 calls in the last year, that's not enough for prosecution. At that point, I work with the city attorney to get these homeowners responsible for the people that are renting or renting out the Airbnbs, okay? Second part, I contact the owner, I try to find who they are, send them a letter about the violation. And that if the first violation is $100, second is $200, and it doubles and it goes up to $8,000. So we want to get the ball rolling as far as citing these individuals for being responsible for the properties. So the first part is call me. Second part, please generate a call for service so that I can reference it to the city attorney. And then what I do is I tell my officers who work the night car, cite this individual who's the owner for this violation so we can get these rolling. So it is an issue. It's a huge issue. I didn't know how big of an issue it was, but please don't let it go, and just contact me if you have any questions or concerns, or if you do have one of those properties as a neighbor. Okay, that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
What do you guys think of LAPD? Thank you. Also, just so you guys know, this is kind of new actually, when we do have leftover food on a night like tonight, we take it down to LAPD in Van Nuys Division. So just want to let you guys know that the food is not going to waste. They enjoy it. You know what? Can you just leave it at the back so that people can grab them before they're leaving? Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Good seeing you. Okay. Jeffrey, where are you? Come on up. So Jeffrey is our county assessor. He's going to tell us all about this job. We've got some very interesting questions that have been coming in. He has been elected to this job since 2014. This is his 12th year. Is that right? Yes. 3rd term. Wow. Sit down, relax. You look all stressed out. You're not stressed out. Election time? Here you go.
Sorry.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been here, I think this is your 3rd time?
I am in my 3rd term as assessor. I was elected.
No, but as far as being at a SOHA meeting.
I believe this is my 3rd time to this.
I think so too. Yeah. So a lot of people don't understand what you do, or some people don't understand. This group is very smart. They understand what you do. But tell us a little bit about Jeffrey. Tell us a little bit about what your office does.
Let me start by telling you what my office doesn't do. Because the one thing I don't do is the one thing everybody thinks I do. I do not collect property taxes. I am not the tax guy. I don't set tax rates. The person who collects taxes has a very intuitive title. She is called the tax collector. My office, we're basically real estate appraisers. Our job is to determine the market value of property, both real property as well as business property. at the time of transfer, and that becomes the basis for your taxes. But I don't do the taxes. Just a little aside, people get very frustrated because I don't know why this is, but in this country, people call the assessor the tax assessor. And there is not and never has been a position in the United States of America called tax assessor. I have no idea where the name comes from, but when you say that, you're really conflating two offices. So if you call the county and say you want the tax assessor, 9 out of 10 times you really want the tax collector. But 100% of the times they're going to send you to my office. Then you're going to be annoyed because you're thinking you're getting the runaround. So terminology is important.
And how long you been in Los Angeles?
I moved to California when I was 25, so that was about 6 months ago. So since 1987, I'm originally from Detroit area, Warren, Michigan.
Okay. And okay, cool. So let's dig right into it. So we have a few questions. So some of the questions are from. Well, I'll just ask the first one. Could you tell us? So back in 2024, it was, I believe, mandated that the modernization project within your office was started.
No, referring to a technology project that actually it substantially concluded in August of 24.
Okay, so your office has 1,400 employees, correct?
Yeah, my office is the largest local property assessment agency in the United States.
Right.
Got 1,400 employees, a budget of close to $300 million. I'm responsible for valuing 2.5 million real property parcels and business assessments annually, which last year were valued at over $2.2 trillion.
Okay. And so back in 2024, you went from mainframe, you modernized basically the systems.
We upgraded our technology. When I was elected in 2014, we were still on an old mainframe, green screen, DOS-based computer platform. And the dirty little secret is most major government agencies still are. If you ever wonder why the DMV or the employment department are so inefficient, they're still back on these ancient legacy systems. Same thing with the Veterans Administration. Our 2.5 million property files were still associated with paper files held in these big cavernous rooms around the county. We embarked in 2015 on a new project, upgrade project. We spent about $130 million, digitized all of our documents, put all of our public data online and through the county's open data website. We went live in August of 2024. And I want to put a kind of a sharper point on this one because this is what we did in our office is actually really remarkable. As you all know, government agencies have 100% record of failure when it comes to upgrading their technology systems. Remember the Department of Water and Power a few years ago, or LA Unified with their payroll system? So when I was elected, I told my staff as we embarked on this, I said, look at what they did at LA Unified, LA DWP. I said, and don't do that. We came up with a fairly novel methodology for developing our technology project. We went, Oracle was our developer, and we told Oracle, we're going to pay you for the job. We're not going to be dealing with these change orders and that sees the cost increase every month. I said, you got to pay for it and absorb any additional costs that may come along. Secondly, in government, one of the challenges with purchasing is they use a methodology called design, bid, build. You design something, you bid it out, they build it, they come in, turn it on, see if it works. And that just never works with technology. So what we did is we came up with a methodology where we built it incrementally in these small, what we call 2-week sprints. And we took my employees out of production to work on the design team so that as Oracle's building it, they're building it with end users to ensure that it would work as our employees needed it to. And we would do small pieces one at a time, and we didn't move on to the next task until that one checked out. We built the new system alongside the old system, and as new functionality was developed, we would decommission old functionality. So when we went live in August of 2024, we didn't turn the new system on to see if it worked. It was already working. We just turned the old system off. And you didn't hear about that because nothing went wrong. It's
So I'm going to ask something that's the municipal labor unions will not like the question. And I don't know if the audience will like the answer, but so you modernize the system. You have 2.5 million parcels, which pretty much the amount of parcels you have pretty much stays the same. So we have modernized systems. You have 1,400 employees. Your employees have stayed the same and have grown. Your budget's grown. Why wouldn't, with the modernized system, why wouldn't your department, like with AI, with technology, with the way things go today, why wouldn't, I mean, typically government offices don't shrink, they only grow. Their budgets typically. So tell me why your office is larger than it was before the modernization
So my
with a bigger budget.
in terms of employees, the number of employees I have is more or less similar to where when I was first elected, although I still believe I need more employees because I have a fairly substantial structural backlog because I don't have enough bodies to do all the work. Although the technology has allowed us to do our work faster, smarter, it's allowed us to employ some AI technology, which was really critical to get our work done in the wake of the fires. But part of the reason why it's still labor intensive in our department is because of Proposition 13 and the way we assess property. Every property is valued uniquely based on market conditions on the day of that transfer. Other states, when they can use AI easier because they reassess all properties by a kind of a similar amount on an annual basis. But your property is dealt with individually upon a transfer. There has been a little bit of shifting in how our employees are structured. We don't need as many clerical employees as we used to. So as some of them retire or leave, we don't necessarily replace them, but we're still trying to increase the number of real estate appraisers that we have. Here's a good example of why I need more people. So there's about one of the biggest ways of generating value to the assessment role is through new construction. You pull a permit, and if it's accessible, we have to make that determination. But this year, there's about 120,000 new construction permits that were pulled in the last 12 months that are not going to be accounted for in this year's budget. And that's about $50 billion in assessed value. And I'll tell you, LA City, LA Unified could really use that money right now. I just don't have the personnel to process all of them in the year that those permits are pulled. I need quite a few more people in order to catch up.
So the permits are pulled, but the property doesn't get assessed until the money is spent on the construction and or the transfer happens on the sale.
So when you pull a permit, that is a signal to us to begin to monitor your property. And the moment you begin construction, that's when the assessment begins. It's a little bit different than building code standards, which is much more focused on certificate of occupancy. If you are 10% completed with your construction project on January 1st, January 1st is the lien date when we assess all property. If you're 10% finished, we're going to assess the property at 10% of the estimated value.
Okay. And let's go back to Proposition 13 because that was so Proposition 13, when property values go up, you guys push a button and everybody gets reassessed a certain percentage. Every year it goes up when property values go up. When property values go down, you basically just stop doing the raise. So it's tell me why Proposition 13 is incumbent, or why is it why is it an issue as far as
Proposition 13 is the methodology and how we value property, how we tax property, how we assess it. Proposition 13 says that when you purchase your property, you will pay taxes based on 1% of your assessed value. For most people, that is your purchase price.
1.25%.
Well, 1% is the statewide standard. LA County has these other taxes, which are roughly about 0.25%. So LA County is about 1.25%. It also allows a modest cost of living adjustment, which is capped at 2%.
Right.
And so your property taxes will never increase more than 2% per year. In the time I've been assessor, it's increased 2% about half the time. It's something less than that the other times.
So, but I'm going back to when you said Proposition 13 kind of puts a little bit of a wrench in the gearwork.
So that's for transfers. So there's tens of thousands of properties that change hands every year. There's tens of thousands of new construction permits, and they have to be assessed individually.
Okay, but I'm sorry, maybe I'm not explaining myself the right way. You said Proposition 13 makes it a little bit more difficult for your office it takes time. So if somebody buys a property for $1 million today, their property is going to be based on that $1 million. So hold on, let me just finish my question. So next year, if property values stay flat and there's no appreciation, they're going to get a tax bill for that 1.25 of that $1 million. If it goes up, if there's an increase, it'll stay the same. Or I'm sorry, it'll go up 2%. So with the new automated system, it should be just an automatic across the board.
Yes.
Okay. So Proposition 13 is not a more, it doesn't create additional work for you, does it?
It doesn't create additional work, but the work that we have to do is your property is dealt with. When you purchase property, your property is dealt with individually. We don't come up with a general average to apply to your tax rate. We have to appraise the value of your property and look at your sales price to see if we agree that that represents market value. So that's where the extra work comes in. Once we've determined your assessed value, then it's kind of on autopilot. But it's the annual transactions that keep us busy. That's Prop 13 mandates that each property is dealt with separately upon transfer, and that's where most of our work is assigned.
Okay. 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 I'm going to go on another question. So you have sponsored several bills related to wildfires, and in particular, Assembly Bill 1253, due to the Palisades and the Eaton fires. You also sponsored Assembly Bill 245 and Senate Bill 293. Could you tell us more about these bills?
Actually, did two more that were inexplicably defeated in the legislature. So what a lot of people don't really know is that in the event of a natural disaster such as a fire, flood, or earthquake, if your home is damaged or destroyed, you are entitled to property tax relief. For the 12,000 homes that were totally destroyed, we zeroed out the total value of their improvements on their property. If the property was partially damaged, we worked with CAL FIRE to determine that percentage and lowered the assessment accordingly. Additionally, when you rebuild, you can restore your pre-fire tax base, even if you build a completely new home. But one thing I know about the Revenue and Taxation Code, which is what governs how we do our job, is it's extremely rigid. There's not a lot of room for discretion. It doesn't take into consideration a lot of real world things that may occur. And I was very attentive to that while the fires were still going. So I put together a fairly robust package of legislation to try to provide better relief and convenience to property owners. So here's a couple of them. One of them, current law says that if there's a natural disaster, you have to apply for tax relief within 12 months. But if you're one of these fire victims, 12 months is not a lot of time trying to figure out the bureaucracy of rebuilding your lives. So one of the bills extended that period of time from 12 months to 24 months. Another one, there's some different tax benefits that you can take advantage of, but you have to rebuild with a certain amount of time. 5 years is usually the standard. 5 years, we've learned from the Paradise Fire and the Sonoma County Fire that didn't seem to be sufficient. So another bill extended the period of time to 8 years and gave the Board of Supervisors the authority to extend it even further if they feel that that's necessary. And then another challenge we had is dealing with disabled veterans and nonprofits and religious institutions. You can be exempt from property taxes if you're a disabled veteran or a nonprofit or a religious institution. But the law says you must be actively using the property for the exempt purpose. Well, if the church burns down, they're not having church services there. And a strict reading of the Revenue and Taxation Code says they no longer qualify for an exemption. So an institution which has just been devastated that didn't have to pay taxes would have had to pay taxes. So this bill allowed us to extend the exemptions during the rebuilding process, so we don't have to nickel and dime these folks. And then the other one dealt with people. It's kind of a unique issue. It's much more common occurrence in Altadena, but a lot of people own property that may have been in the family for multiple generations. It was grandparents, then parents, and people were coming into the disaster center. We're looking at our documentation, and we're saying, this is the name on the deed. That's not you. They said, well, that's my mom. That was my grandparents. Well, mom and dad died, and they moved into the property and they used it as their own, but they didn't change and update the ownership records. And this is a problem because you don't qualify for FEMA relief if you're not the owner of the property. If you don't qualify for tax relief if you're not the owner of the property. And the law said that once I discover that there has been a change in ownership, You only have 6 months to fix that before we have to assess you for the higher value, and you could be on the hook for up to 8 years in back taxes. I'm recognize that sending 8-year tax bills to people who just lost their home didn't seem to be something I was interested in doing. So there's a bill introduced by Senator Sasha Perez that extended that period of time from 6 months to 3 years so that we can work better to identify those homeowners. And we are able to fix their ownership issues without penalty if we identify them and get the information that we need.
And is that bill still alive, or did it go through?
That bill was passed. It was enrolled by the governor. Here's the bill that was killed. Last year, Nick Schultz carried this bill for me. This year, it was carried by Senator Suzette Valladares. One of the challenges other challenges we have is that as fire survivors are rebuilding, the governor issued an emergency declaration that said you can build up to 110% of what was there. That's a building code standard. The problem is building code standards do not coincide with assessment standards. They're provided for in different parts of the law. Under assessment standards, you can rebuild your home to what is termed substantial equivalence and maintain your pre-fire tax base. The problem is 110% exceeds all past practices and guidance from the Board of Equalization as to what is defined as substantial equivalence. So we were in this position of nickel and diming fire survivors to build 110%. They all believe, one of the other challenges that city, county officials were telling people you can build to 110% without being taxed. It wasn't malicious, they just didn't know. So this bill would have aligned those two standards. It would have said, if you build to 110%, I can accept that as substantial equivalence. And we won't have to send you a supplemental bill for that additional square footage. It went to, it was in the Assembly last year, it went to the Appropriations Committee, and they killed it without comment. They didn't even vote on it. And they don't tell you why. And then just last week, maybe it was this week, the same thing happened in Senate Appropriations. So I am fixing that. I'm nervous about it. I issued an administrative memorandum telling my staff to accept that 110% as substantial equivalence. But I'm nervous about that because I'm not a policymaker. I'm an administrator. I don't get to make laws. So in this way, I'm kind of making laws. And I don't really have anything to hang my hat on. So I'm just doing it. And somebody may sue me one day. There may be a problem. But at least as an elected official, I'm not going to impose it.
Interesting.
On fire victims.
Interesting. So as the county assessor, you have many cities that you collect that you administer the tax parcel for. Cities like Glendale, Pasadena, Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, correct? 86 cities. Okay, 88? Okay. So a few years ago, because homeowners and property owners are the evil people in today's society. If you own a house, which is supposed to be the American dream, you are now an evil person. So as with SB 79, single family homes can be eliminated. But a few years ago, there was this mansion tax that was passed, ULA.
ULA, yes.
So ULA passed it in the city of Los Angeles only, not for the county. Face value is sold by our politicians as a mansion tax, but the reality was it's a parcel tax. Anything over $5 million gets taxed at a higher rate. So your bird's eye view as far as development, as far as where you're seeing the development happening, because that 5% tax increase, that additional 5%, is not on the profit, it's on the gross sale. So if a developer builds a $100 million apartment building and he puts it on the market and he sells it for $80 million, he loses to $20 million on it because the market's going down, because jobs are moving out of the area. He has to pay that extra 5% on that $80 million, including losing the money. So your bird's eye view, have you seen development increase since ULA, or has it decreased tremendously?
So we're actually doing a deep dive into that as we speak. We're actually getting a lot of requests for information from various stakeholders who have an opinion on one side or the other of ULA. What I can tell you is in the months leading up to ULA going into effect, there was a dramatic increase in sales and transfers of property that would meet the threshold for ULA tax. The day that went into effect, it dropped down to zero and remained at zero for an extended period of time. And we can demonstrate the trends over the last 10 years that ULA has impacted the market. And I think the basic rule is if you do things to impact the market will respond. The market is responding. People whose property falls under the envelope of ULA are trying to find strategies to avoid it. They may be, if properties that are close to the $5 million mark, they may sell for $4,999,000 to try to avoid that tax. We are anticipating that they're going to try to find some type of legal loopholes to avoid triggering that tax. So there's definitely a lot of evidence that it has been impactful and not necessarily. I think there was expectation that would generate a whole lot of revenue because I don't think they anticipated that the market would respond the way it did.
And just for the record, it's not just mansions. So a church has a piece of parcel that they need to sell, and it sells for $10 million. Are they paying 5% of that as well?
I don't know if the city exempted.
They didn't.
So then, yeah, that would.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, all they didn't exempt charities. They didn't in office buildings, apartment buildings. We keep hearing that we need more housing, but why would a developer come in and share not 5% of the profits? Because that would actually make a little bit of sense, but 5% of the gross. I mean, it's.
I think we will be able to see that there has been a slowdown in development of housing because of that tax.
Okay. So just so you guys know, and especially you guys at home too, our board is going to be setting up this year. We're going to be setting up some different debates, not with people that are running for office, but on different hot topics. And ULA is one of them. And we want to have folks that are on the side of developers and seeing where they're developing. And we're going to have the other side as far as the abundant housing groups to say, the folks that put out the rumor that it was a mansion tax. Would you be a participant? Would you like to participate in that discussion that we're going to have?
Sure, I'm happy to participate.
Okay, perfect. You're on that committee, right, Howard? Mark that down. All right. Thank you. We're going to have some fun conversations with just about some hot topics. We're going to be dealing with homeless issues, both sides as far as what's going on that. So we're looking forward to that. Marilyn, are you here? So Marilyn wants to know Proposition 19. How long should it take to approve a Proposition 19? And just for the folks that don't know what Proposition 19 is, if you can let us know what that is.
Sure, let me give you
Hold on. Hold on, Marilyn. We don't take shout outs. You know that. All right, go ahead. Speak loudly so the folks at home can hear you.
Yeah, I'll incorporate that into my answer. So Prop 19 was an amendment to Proposition 13, and it was adopted in 2020. It does two things. It allows a qualified homeowner, which is anyone who is over the age of 55, the victim of a natural disaster such as the recent fires, or somebody who's severely disabled. It allows them to sell their home and purchase a new one and transfer your tax base with you when you buy the new home. So if you bought your home 40 years ago and your tax base is relatively low, you can buy another house anywhere in the state of California and pay the same taxes.
As long as the property's what you sell it for is equal or less than your purchase.
Yes, if your property is equal or less than the home that you're selling, then you can transfer the same tax base. Although Prop 19 allows you to buy a more expensive home, you'll just pay the difference. So it's a new blended tax rate. It's still a better deal. It lets you transfer that tax rate 3 times. If you're married, 3 times each, so 6 times. So once you turn 55, your tax base is portable pretty much for the rest of your life. And the other part of Prop 19, though, which is really unpopular, and I don't think people knew this was in the measure, otherwise, because I don't think it would have passed if they did. The way that they pay, when you allow somebody to transfer their tax base, you're giving up a reassessment, but based on a sale. So there's going to be a loss of government revenues as a result. So the way they paid for it was they took away inheritance benefits. So if you have children or grandchildren who are going to get your property, they now get a whole lot less than they got before. So under the previous law, your children could inherit your property and they would pay the same taxes as you. And if you owned other properties, such as a rental property, the first $1 million was exempted from reassessment. That's all changed under Prop 19. Now, the only property that qualifies for inheritance with tax benefits is your primary residence. And for your child to qualify to get that tax benefit, they need to move into the home within 12 months after the transfer. And they need to stay there as long as they want that to maintain that tax base. They also have to fill out the homeowner's exemption. And the last piece of it is only the first $1 million is exempt from reassessment. So if your home is $1.5 million, they'll get the benefit on the first $1 million in value, and the second $500,000 they'll be paying market rate taxes. And given that the median sales price for a single family home in LA County is now just shy of $1 million, virtually anybody inheriting property in a good part of the county, inheriting property from their parents will be paying a higher tax rate.
So if somebody does do a Proposition 19 and takes their tax base, the inheritance as far as being able to take the property tax value goes away. However, the basis of the property, as far as the valuation, is the step up in basis still applies. That doesn't go away.
We don't deal with it. That's federal.
That's federal.
That's federal.
Okay.
Tax thing.
Okay.
Yeah. There's still some benefits for it, but a lot of, if you were going to inherit your parents' property and use it as a rental, you can do that, but the property would be reassessed at market value, so the cost of owning that home will increase quite a bit from what your parents were paying.
Yeah.
Oh, and-
So the original question, how long should it take to get approved?
So if you want to, if you're going to do a base year transfer, if you're going to move your tax base with you, you have to sell your home and buy a new one within 2 years, and it can be in either order. You can buy first and then sell, or sell first and then buy. It takes, I will candidly say, it takes us longer to process those than I would like. It probably takes, depending on what time of year that you make that, do that transaction, it could take between 6 and 8 months. One of the problems with Prop 19 is it added an enormous workload to my office, and it included zero money for personnel and administration. So we had to basically squeeze in all this additional work under our current funding envelope. So it just slowed everything down.
Rephrase the question so they can hear.
I believe that if when you purchase property, you get something from our office called a preliminary change in ownership statement. There's a box on there that says that you qualify as for a base year transfer. You will not be assessed during that processing period. But if you're not quite certain, the one advice I'll give, it's always better to pay and seek a refund later on than not pay and get one of those 10% penalties.
And under Proposition 19, if somebody buys a house before they sell their house, if they buy it first and then sell their home 6 months later because the house is going to need some work or something, they can still transfer their.
Yes.
They don't have to sell their house first and then buy.
It could be in either order, just it has to be done within 2 years.
Within 2 years. Okay, good. Does that answer your question, Marilyn? All right. Gary, I don't know if, Gary, are you still here? Okay. I don't know if I can, I think you're asking, I pay my property taxes and I still get email reminders. You should change your mailing list procedure. Is that what you're asking? Okay.
The tax collector, yeah, I will sometimes issue emails to support the tax collector because I've got a better communications arm than she does. But we'll send out reminders with things that are important for their office. One of the things that what we were referring to is a change of mailing address. It's really important that we have your current mailing address because anything coming from my office or the tax collector's office, in particular your bill, is based on the address that you give us. If you don't tell us what the address is, this is one of the things that happened during the fires. People lost their homes, and then they weren't. About 2,000 people didn't receive their tax refunds because the only address we had on file was the address of the property that burned down. And if you don't tell us where you're at, we just don't. We can't find you. So, if people forget to pay a tax bill on time, they'll say, "Well, I didn't get a bill." Well, we're not believe it or not, legally we're not required to send you a bill. A bill is considered a legal courtesy. The law says you're supposed to know when the taxes are due, and if you don't pay on time, it's a 10% penalty. And the fact that you didn't get a bill doesn't help you avoid that penalty.
So I received an email from your office, and it was really very convenient. It said I can click on this link and I can pay my tax bill using Bitcoin. That's a new system you guys are offering?
That's the tax collector. I don't know what they're up to over there.
I'm kidding. Okay, so we have a couple minutes left, and if you can take off your county assessor hat, you're also running for your seat again. Can you change? Do you want to stand up and then turn around and then?
Sure.
Yeah. Are you're running for another term?
I'm running for re-election on
Why?
June the 2nd.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've got to work a little bit longer before I'm ready to retire, but I'm running for my fourth term. For those of you who don't know, prior to me serving as assessor, I served for almost 18 years as a city council member in West Hollywood, including a few terms as mayor. I do now live in the city of LA in Baldwin Hills. But I'll tell you, this is the best job I ever had. I think assessor is a profoundly important job. I always tell people it's the most important local government agency because no other government agency can do their job until I've done mine. And if I don't do my job well and thoroughly, then money which should be going into police and roads and hospitals is left on the table. And I've worked hard to bring modernization and efficiency and customer service to this office, and I think we have exceeded expectations, at least compared to where the office was previously. And I hope that I can earn the trust of the voters for one more round.
And there are no term limits.
No, the sheriff, the district attorney, and the assessor do not have term limits.
Interesting. I was going to be my second question. So in the county, those are the three that don't have. The supervisors used to have term limits until a few terms back.
They still do. The supervisors.
No, they used to have no term limits.
But yes, yeah, they adopted term limits for the board by an ordinance about 20 years ago. They tried to apply it to all county officials, but interestingly, the sheriff, the DA, and the assessor are actually constitutional offices. The California Constitution says every county will have an elected DA, assessor, and sheriff. And so the courts ruled that the Board of Supervisors did not have the authority to change the term of office for those positions.
And in the state of California, as far as electeds, what state offices have no term limits?
I don't know if there are any.
So
I think they're all subject, statewide offices are all subject to 2 terms.
So all county assessors, sheriffs, and DAs
are exempt.
So
there may be counties like Orange County also elects the registrar recorder, the auditor controller, and they can impose term limits on them because those are local option offices.
Great. Did you guys learn a little bit more about assessor? Let's hear it for Jeffrey Pring, everybody. Thank you.
There's a couple of leave behinds I want to offer that are important things. There's 2 things I want you to do if you haven't already. One, we have a tax savings program called the homeowner's exemption. Anybody who owns a home and lives in the home qualifies, but about half the property owners don't apply for it, primarily because they've never heard of it before. It's a small tax savings program. It's only about $70 a year, but you fill out a simple form and it rolls over every year. And you have to have it if you want to leave your property to your children. The other one is a relatively new program we launched last year called the Homeowner Alert. You may be familiar that there's a lot of scams, title scams. People use identity theft to change the name on your deed, then they leverage debt against it, make your life a mess. We now have a program through my office with the registrar recorder that you can register your email address with your property. And anytime something is recorded on your deed, you'll get an email notification within 48 hours. If you don't sign up, thank you. If you don't sign up, the first notification you'll get is a letter in the mail from the registrar, usually about 30 days later, and they can do a lot of damage to you in 30 days. So check out our website and sign up for the homeowners alert and the homeowners exemption. And the documentation that we passed out of the table should have all the contact information.
Great. Thank you very much. And you're also going to stick around in case folks have individual questions for you. Thank you. So next month, you guys, we are meeting same room, same third Wednesday in June. We are going to have Council Member Bob Blumenfield here. He's got a lot of interesting things. He's going to be talking about the election results. Okay. And then mark your calendars. In July, we do not meet. Remember, we're dark every July, except for this July. Okay. So you folks at home, mark your calendars. You folks here, mark your calendars, because we will have the mayoral debate between whoever wins the primary in the general election. We've already got the commitment from Karen Bass and Nithya Raman. They both committed to that date. One of our board members spoke with Spencer Pratt, and he was open to it and said he would let us know on June 3rd. So I take that as a soft yes. But we've already booked the room, and the invites will go out. We're going to do it the same way as we did the last one, which will be to our members first, and that should be a lot of fun. So thank you all for coming. Please clean up your mess, and we'll see you next month.